E.T. here, and this is Vladimir Ivanovich Polaniak. He was born of Ukrainian parents in the coal regions of Pennsylvania. That was back in 1919. You may remember him as Jack Palance, the actor. He played on stage, in films, on TV. He received 3 Academy Award nominations for Best Supporting Actor. He should have gotten it, in my opinion, for his portrayal of the gunslinger Jack Wilson. That was in the movie Shane. And he got many other awards, including one in 2012 in the movie City Slickers. Whenever Palance appeared on stage or on the screen, his raw, commanding, villainous characterizations startled audiences. But it was in Rod Serling's Requiem for a Heavyweight that played on TV, Playhouse 90. It was there that Palance displayed his, gentler side. He played a boxer, Harlan Mountain McClintock. The boxer was on his way down and he was a bit punchy, no longer able to get the fight doctor to okay him to fight again, and he'd been abandoned by his manager. The film proceeds with McClintock finding a woman named Grace, an employment agency specialist, and he has several scenes with ring luminaries, former heavyweight champion Max Baer, heavyweight contenders, young Jack Johnson, who else? Abe Simon, and former light heavyweight champion Maxie Rosenblum. You may think that Palance was in such company, alarmed, but in fact, he was Hollywood's toughest actor. Even the very scary Richard Widmark admitted that Jack intimidated him. By the way, he performed most of his own stunts, including climbing a rope, and that was after 2 pro stuntmen failed to do it. Also, Jack Palance had boxed as a pro. The first 9 or 10, maybe 11 fights, nobody seems to know the exact number, were club affairs, all said to be big wins for Palance. But BoxRec.com recognizes only one professional bout for Palance, but his opponent for that fight indicated just how good Jack Palance was with his fists. Palance was fighting under the name of Jack Brazzo. At the time he was a student, it was 1940. He was a student at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Now that suggests Palance had brains as well as brawn. He stood about 6 feet 3 inches, weighed about 200, and he took on a fighter named Joe Baxey. Now he's a bit shorter than Palance, but weighs in at 200. Baxey had 9 fights at the time, all wins, before taking on Palance, Brazzo. And Baxey went on to twice defeat the great Lee Savold, before Savold went on to fight former and later champions like Jersey Joe Walcott, Joe Louis, and Rocky Marciano. He also KO'd the impressive Buddy Knox. So Jack Brazzo's, or Palance's, first serious test was against a future top heavyweight contender. The fight took place in December of 1940, almost a year to the day before the attack on Pearl Harbor. It was at the Westchester County Center in White Plains, New Jersey, and it was, by all accounts at the time, a bruising 4-round affair. The points winner, though, was Joe Baxey. Palance remarked later, I think it was in the 90s, he said, "I thought at the time you might be nuts to get your head beat in for $200 when the theater seemed a lot more appealing." But before he began acting, Palance joined the Army Air Force, and he served as a pilot on a B-24 Liberator bomber. And when it crashed in 1943, that was while he was patrolling the California coast, maybe, nobody's quite sure. Well, when it happened, Lieutenant Palance was seriously injured, and that resulted in several citations and plastic or reconstruction surgery for broken bones and severe burns. And the result of that was Palance's feral and gaunt visage, which was perfect when he played roles as villain or prize fighters. And the accident got him a discharge from the Army in 1943. For a while, Palance enrolled at Stanford University to pursue journalism, and then he switched to theater. And then, with just one credit necessary to graduate from Stanford, he decided to become an actor. And to do so, he had to work odd jobs. Palance finally struck gold when he began as an understudy for Marlon Brando, who was playing Stanley Kowalski in the Tennessee Williams play Streetcar Named Desire. In 1950, Palance hit the big screen in Elia Kazan's Panic in the Street. And the movie Shane that I mentioned before, which came out in 1953, guaranteed that Palance would never again be without work. But boxing remained important to Jack Palance. As you can see in the documentary, and it's called And Still Champion, The Story of Archie Moore, it was narrated by Jack Palance, and it's available now if you want to see it on YouTube. Years later, saw Palance work as an artist, and he worked a lot of time at his Butler Township ranch. At the age of 87, Jack Palance died of pancreatic cancer. He was living in Montecito, California. And that is the story, boys and girls. Did you like it? Hit the thumb up icon, subscribe to these videos, and comment below. Thank you.